This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. A parliamentary system is a form of governance in a nation from which the executive branch obtains its power. The executive is accountable to the House of Commons in Britain. Hence, the two are interrelated. It is important to note that the head of state is different from the head of government. Thus, it is different from the presidential form of democracy. It is usually practiced in monarchies and parliamentary republics. A parliamentary system could be a bicameral system that consists of two chambers, or a unicameral house. This essay focuses on discussing the advantages and disadvantages of the British parliamentary system. Advantages of the British parliamentary system. To understand the advantages of the British parliamentary system, it is important to highlight its components. First, the executive is linked with the legislature. Second, the executive organ is composed of the Prime Minister and cabinet ministers. Finally, it has a separate head of state and head of government. The above features give the system many advantages. One of the main advantages of this system is unity. This is for the reason that the executive and the legislative organs support each other. According to Rodner, unity is key because the legislative arm can pass a vote of no confidence if it is not content with the performance of the executive branch. The process of making and amending laws is easier and faster. The executive arm has the majority party in the parliament, meaning that it has the majority votes. This implies that it is easier to pass legislation without much resistance from the opposition. Moreover, the British parliamentary system draws the attention of ethnic communities, making the leadership very effective in achieving national and regional goals. Gamble states that power is spread evenly on the platform of the British parliamentary system. The Prime Minister is as important as the monarch because voters focus on voting for party ideas, but not for persons. Gamble contends that the system also allows serious debates in Parliament that could lead to changes of power without holding elections. Elections in Britain can be held any time, especially if the Assembly passes a vote of no confidence vis-a-vis the executive. The parliamentary system in Britain is associated with less corruption. Leaders who do not perform as expected are removed from office. The system is also advantageous for the reason that the nation functions without a formal constitution. Through the parliamentary arrangement, relatively small political parties grow and achieve national outlooks with a lot of ease. For example, some leaders are indirectly elected by different districts that vote for representatives of the legislative body. Bever and Rhodes argue that in the British parliamentary system, there is a dual relationship between the upper house and the lower house. This is for the reason that both cooperate to promote the development of the state. It is vital to state that proponents of the parliamentary system argue that all political parties are included in the executive, including the minority parties. This implies that diverse views are incorporated during the lawmaking process. Notably, the system has made the monarch and members of the House of Lords depend on the Parliament. This has resulted in the promotion of accountability and transparency of the government towards citizens' representatives. The system has developed a progressive and innovative electoral system that ensures efficiency during elections. It allows the executive to implement its manifestos through the legislature. This is because the executive and the legislative organs are interrelated. The British parliamentary system has allowed a relatively peaceful change from a monarchical to a liberal democracy. This has improved efficiency in the running of the country's affairs. It has also allowed flexibility of legislative structures. For example, the bicameral house is composed of the upper house and the lower house, which consult each other to avoid conflicts during the implementation of government policies. Disadvantages of the British parliamentary system. The British parliamentary system has many advantages compared with other systems of government. Despite the many advantages, it has been characterized by many disadvantages. First, the executive power is not separated from the legislature. As a result, laws that are not good have been passed. Although the Parliament can pass a vote of no confidence, there are limited checks and balances. This has been the case because the majority party forms the government and would always aim at protecting the government. Cabinet members are appointed from the upper house, which interferes with the functions of the upper house concerning monitoring what the executive does. Nonetheless, the informal constitution that is used in Britain can be changed at any time by the executive and the legislative arms through a bill or an amendment. It would be important to note that the powers that are inherited are undemocratic and could cause constitutional crises. Reserve powers are derived from conventions, and issues could arise when employing them. The absolute powers of the executive and the legislature have contributed to an autocratic form of government that is controlled by the Prime Minister. This has interfered with the effective functioning of other organs. Pross supports the fact that the Prime Minister is not elected directly and has little autonomy, which interferes with his or her decision-making process. In addition, voting for the Prime Minister that is done strategically might not represent the voters' interests. It is crucial to note that the British Parliament is a result of historical processes that derived power from an absolute monarch. Conclusion. In conclusion, the British parliamentary system has advantages and disadvantages. It has been used as an example that has achieved a lot across the world. It is typified by the dependence of the executive on the Parliament. The Prime Minister and the monarch are answerable to the House of Commons, promoting accountability and transparency as aforementioned. The fact that the system lacks a clear distinction between the legislature and the Parliament makes the two collaborate. Voting that is done based on party manifestos implies that citizens' interests would be addressed. However, the system utilizes an informal constitution that is based on multiple sources of the law. Thus, it can be manipulated by the legislature and the executive. If you want to find more works like this essay on British parliamentary system, advantages and disadvantages, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of free samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects. No registration required to access it.